center of our universe. So far, it is the only planet that can support life as we know it. In the vast reaches of space, that our little planet is the only place where we know that Mars once had oceans, that many of the elements found on Earth.
Another agent has joined your
While no other planet sustains life, it's possible that the building blocks that allow organisms to evolve in the stellar system, the complex living beings like we, started as dying stars light years away.
An agent has left your group. Vital signs critical.
Deploying!
Their secrets. Third rock is the center of our universe. So far, it is the only planet that can support life as we know. You can't keep them in the vast reaches of space. Our planet is the only place and life. We know that Mars was vast oceans. Found on Earth, the only
Get him off my plane!
Finish mopping up these assholes and let's see what we can find.
An agent needs assistance.
Probably bricked, but check out the server just to be sure.
Hello guys, welcome to another build video. For today's video I want to show you my improved hybrid build. This one it's a little bit of a twist, and I will explain you how you can make this build and what's the benefit coming from it. So let's start with the benefit. Using this build, it's actually made for both so I'll say PVE content, right, and also some of the alternative missions that you can do. I will not say that this one is actually good for the Dark Hours raid, but I tested this on the Iron Horse. Now for the first boss and second boss, this is actually good. Coming up to the third one, it's also good, but you have to take in consideration that you don't have Unbreakable, and also on the fourth one you kind of like need to be in cover most of the time. So the benefits of this build is actually you can deal damage with it. You can do a lot of damage both weapons and skills, and you also have like 1.1 armor. But keep in mind that you don't have unbreakable for this build. So first of all, let's start with the specialization. So I'm using the technician plus 1 skill tier, right? So I have 6, even though on the left side you see here it only says 4. I have 6, and I will show you how. So you get 1 skill tier from this one, then you get like 1 from the ninja, 2, 3, and 4, right? Technician has 1 plus 1 skill tier, and also I'm using the raise mask that gives me 10 skill haste, and also because I have the ninja backpack, I have also plus 1 skill tier. So I'm actually at skill tier 6 with this build. Let's go over the weapons. So I'm using this weapon, which is the Whisperer. For you guys that don't know, this is probably one of the sickest right now rifle in the game. As you can see here, I'm maxed out to rifle damage, critical hit damage, and damage to targets out of cover, and also I have perfectly behind you. So amplifies weapon damage by 20% to enemies that are not targeting you. So the farther you stay away from the fight, or you don't do so much aggro, the more damage you will do. Now my secondary, it's actually the Scorpio. Now why I'm using the Scorpio for this build, it's actually has like a logical institution on how you can create this build, right? So first of all, you're going to use a lot of skills, right? You're going to stay at the range because you're going to use the M16 or the Whisperer. But what happens when it comes close to you? Now, because this one has only 1.1 million armor and no unbreakable, that means you're kind of like squishy. And for this build alone, you kind of like need something when the enemies get close to you, because they will get close to you regardless of what type of mission you're doing. So the Scorpio, it's actually for this build in order to create more CC on the enemies if they come close to you, right? Now, as I already showed you, so I have here the race mask that gives me these 2. I also have critical hit damage, critical hit chance, and another critical hit chance on this one. For the chest, I have Docker's Kicker's Knock, I will say, the name Grupo Sombra, which is the chest piece that gives me critical hit damage and explosive damage. I'm using here the abilities, the Shrapnel and the Explosive Seeker Mine. So the Shrapnel is actually a good way on how you can set up a point for your advantage, because you're throwing the skill, right, on an area that might come up to you, right, from the left side or from the right side, and then you can kind of like correlate with the explosive damage, because once you throw a Seeker Mine and the Seeker Mine is going after an enemy, that enemy loses the target with you. Even though he's firing at you, he will not target you anymore because he's facing the mine. So he's going to run from the mine, and in that time you can actually use the Whisperer to shoot him down, right? So what does the name Grupo Sombra does as a chess piece? It says here perfect spark, so damaging enemies with a skill increases total weapon damage by 50% for 12 seconds. Now the Whisperer, the talent, plus this one will give you like a lot of the damage, because you only have 2 reds, as you can see here. So you get the one from the Grupo Sombra and one from the ninja backpack. So that's one of the boosts that you can give to your weapons. Another piece that I have here right now, it's the China Light Industries Corporation, that gives you 50% explosive damage and 20% skill haste. And because I'm using again, I'm focusing more this on both damage for weapons and for skills, I have the knee pads, which is the Wyvern, that gives me 10% skill damage and status effect, 50%. Then that will not give you so much, because 50% is kind of like low, but it's also a good bonus. Now for the gloves, I have the Hanayu Corporation, or plated gloves. Also gives me skill damage and skill haste and skill damage, 10% for both of them. So this right here, it's a build that you want to have if you want to do both damage with your skills and with your weapons. Now the main part of this build is actually keep in mind that you need to place the shrapnel depending on the area that you're in. So you're going to stay mostly in cover and outside of the combat, right, of enemies. You're not trying to get close to them. So while you're going to play with this build, you kind of like understand where to place the shrapnel, and you're going to see that it does a lot of damage, and also you're going to do a lot of damage with the weapons. Now let's look at the stats. So as you can see here, 60% critical hit chance and almost 160 critical hit damage. So I would say that this is a good build to have, especially if you're if you want to try something out. I usually try to do like different hybrid builds because it's important to have like a diversity depending on type of the build that you have. This is, in my opinion, one of the good ones. You want to test it out. Also, I have other builds that I'm coming up for the hybrid, so stay tuned for other types of hybrid builds. But until then, yeah, that's the build for it. Leave a like on the way out, and until next time, I'm out.